wanted to take the time and space to talk about grief. And originally it was just going to be about my experience being pregnant and the postpartum period, but unfortunately I did end up losing my dad. I'm gonna go ahead and first talk about postpartum and pregnancy, and then I'll get into grief, and I just want to share what I've been feeling with the postpartum period. So this is just solely my experience, and I don't want anybody to feel a certain type of way. This is just how it went for me. I did have a couple problems throughout my pregnancy that led me to being depressed the majority of my pregnancy, and so I want to say it really hit hard like the last 2 to 3 months before her arrival. And so once I gave birth, I felt so empowered as a woman for the first time in my life. I felt so good about myself, and I felt like such a fucking badass. I want to say from birth up until 2 weeks postpartum, my birth went so great. I was cleared within my first checkup. At that first checkup, they have you fill out a survey to see kind of where you're at on the depression, anxiety, how you're feeling emotion wise. And honestly, I was really low to the point where I had pretty much no depression, because that's how legitimately great I felt to not be pregnant. I was feeling really good, and I was doing pelvic floor exercise, and so I was doing a lot of those exercises here at the house, doing my yoga, doing my stretches, doing my deep breathing. And so I finally got cleared from my doctor to go work out, and I was so excited. Having a newborn within the first 2 weeks is very hard. It's a new adjusting period, still adjusting to having a new baby, a new person, get to know them, they get to know you and your routine and stuff. And so it was so hard for me to find the time for me to pump, where I went to the gym to work out, and I honestly was good. I started to go the first day, it went great. I went the second day, and it was on the second day, since I worked at the gym, I had someone come up to me that she was a regular, and we talked and whatever, and she was just pretty much bashing me for being at the gym, working out on myself, making me feel guilty, and just honestly overall sending me such bad energy, which was not it. I went home and I didn't return back to the gym. That plus breastfeeding, feeling stressed to that I'm not making enough milk, a constant cluster feeding of feeding every 2 to 3 hours, day in and day out. It was just a lot on my body. Like, I barely ever slept. Like, I probably slept the most 2 hours. And then I'm also still in school. However, it is online, but don't let that fool you, because it is so hard trying to get in my assignments and then take care of her. But obviously that led to me feeling really depressed, because at this point Neil had gone back to work. So I expressed how I was feeling to my family, and I was just telling them, look, like, I have depression, just is what it is. Around mid-February is kind of when I went back for my second appointment with her, just to check up and make sure everything's okay. It did finally clear me for everything, but at this checkup my depression levels completely changed, like 180. They went through the roof, to the point where they were so high that my doctor ended up referring me to a psychiatrist to talk out how I felt. That's legit how bad things changed so quickly within those couple of weeks from the first time I saw her. And so carrying forward, at this point, the following week was my grandma's 80th birthday, so we were just celebrating with my family, and my dad was there, family was there. This is the point where he started to feel a lot of pain, to the point where he did have to go to the hospital. The next 5 days that was soon to follow, he did end up passing away in the hospital. It was very hard on my family. It was very sad, and it still is very sad, and it was a shock because it was unexpected for all of us. It was very hard for me because at that point I was breastfeeding all the time. I had to bring her along with me, and there was points where the last day of his life I came and they were not going to let me in go see him, even though I had been there before with her and it was no problem. And I was very emotional and I was very upset because I did want to see him obviously one last time and be there with him. It was very hard on all of us. Still is kind of new thing adjusting. I mean, his 1 month did pass, and like yesterday I was just bawling my eyes out and just missing him so much. But I know he's in a better place. I'm grateful for the time that he spent and he was able to meet her. It's just, yeah. So that's pretty much 2 parts of grief. Now this is the point where I'm gonna go ahead and just vent to y'all like how I've been feeling. When I dealt with postpartum, I was dealing with the grief of my old life, my old sense of freedom. I was just very depressed because I have never breastfed, and breastfeeding was a very difficult journey for me in the beginning. I had to go to the lactation center. I was working around the clock to make sure that she was okay, that I neglected myself, and so that was obviously a toll. Also felt a certain type of way of like going out, getting out of the house, feeling guilty for even wanting to better myself. When it comes to dealing grief with my dad, it's a whole different thing. At that point, it just honestly changed me completely. Like, I've never experienced such a loss like that. Like, I felt like a piece of me died with him, if that makes sense. I had to mourn again. like it was just so hard because she was just a month and a half of me being postpartum. I don't know, I just felt weird because like it pains me knowing that I can't take her to go see him, or like they can't spend holidays, or I was really looking forward to that and whatnot. So I just wanted to share. It's such a roller coaster. Some days I feel amazing, some days I feel terrible, and it's just very hard to get through it. Like I don't feel motivated at all to do certain things for the majority of the days, and then some days I feel full of energy. I think the hardest part has been trying to move forward with courage. I also wanted to thank everybody who reached out to me and my family, sending their condolences. I really appreciate it for just sharing your appreciation and love for my dad. He did get cremated. I have his ashes right here, but I have yet to put them in a storage container case to hold them. And I picked gold because I always saw him wearing gold, so I felt it was only right to get a gold flower. I have yet to take his ashes to the place so they can put it in for me, because I honestly cannot do it myself. That's just too much. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me and be with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys later.